So there were two specific books I wanted to buy. They didn't have them in neither of the bookstores, so I got 6 other books instead. Everyone, so I am now back home in Vienna right now, and I hope that this video could be the first part actually of I don't know how many parts, and I don't know when the other part or parts would come out, but I thought that I would just like to make a video about a little of introduction of the bookstores we have in Bratislava, because if you are new to this channel, hello by the way, but I'm originally from Slovakia, from Bratislava, and now I live in Vienna. And the other day when I went visit to my parents, I did have some time to spare, and I thought that it would be lovely if I could show you some of our bookstores we had. And obviously Bratislava is a capital, it's a huge town, so we have so many different bookstores, from the bigger commercial ones such as for example Thalia or Waterstones in the UK. We have equivalents of those, the big commercial ones, and then we also have so many independent bookstore and so many of second-hand bookstores, and I just wanted to show you some of them. So eventually, if I ever get a chance to film another video in Bratislava when I come visit there, I would like to make a part 2. So today I would like to show you 4 bookstores which I visited in one day, and the reason why I chose these 4 particular ones because it's sort of like a mix of the commercial ones and then the independent ones, and then there is one of my most favorite bookstores in Bratislava as well included. And the reason why I chosen these 4 is because they are very close to each other and they are in the city center. So I will also give you the location and the name of the streets and how and where you can find them. And I was just thinking that if ever anyone would have a trip to Bratislava, you will definitely go to city center, and if by any chance you would like to see some bookstores, you can go and check these out. And then I would obviously love to show you all the books I bought, because as I said at the beginning, I went to these bookstores because I had 2 particular books in mind, and they did not have them in any of the bookstores. And I am normally not a person who has a huge physical TBR because I do not have a tendency to go and buy books. If I go, usually I do it when I already finish all the books which I have at home physically and I have nothing else to read. That's when I go to bookstores and I maybe do like a bigger haul, or then when I go to bookstore for the purpose of having a bookshop date or something like this, I usually buy maximum 1 or 2 books. However, in October I had a bookshop date indeed with my boyfriend here in Vienna, and I also made a video about it, so you can check that out as well if you would like to see some bookstores in Vienna. And there I purchased few books, and this time I bought 6 books, and as I said, I did not expect this to happen. I really wanted just 2 books and they did not have them. So I just decided to see what they have, and I ended up with 6 books which I have right here, and I will show them to you. But first I would like to show you a little bit of the bookstores I went to visit. The first one I went to see is Pantarei. It's a bookstore which is more on the commercial side of the things, because that means that they have a lot of different bookstores across the whole country in every big bigger or even the smaller town, there is this type of bookstore, and it's a very lovely one. It's huge. You can have books in different languages there from Slovak authors. You also have a lot of different like gifts type of thing there, and there is also a huge coffee place which is part of it, so you can have a coffee, have a workspace there, or meet friends, and it's just very lovely. And honestly, the store is just beautiful. And then the other one which I went to visit is called Martinus, and this is another sort of like a commercial type of bookstores which is across the whole Slovakia and across the bigger town, but this one actually comes or was originated in Slovakia in Martin, which is the city up in the north, and Martinus is the name of the bookstores, and that's very similar like the other ones I mentioned, for example Thalia in the Austria or then Waterstones in the UK, because it's really big one. It's across many cities, and you also have a huge and lovely coffee shop inside. You do have different readings and meetings with authors there, same as first bookstore which I mentioned, and there are books of different genres, and it's just very lovely. And the great thing is that if you come to visit, these bookstores are literally 1 minute from each other, because they are in the city center in two of the main streets as well, so you can find them very easily, and I hope you will like them if you eventually get to visiting them. And to be honest, I did not get any books in these two, because I thought that these are two bookstores in which I had the biggest chance to get two books which I really wanted. They didn't have them, so I was like, okay, never mind, I'm gonna go to the other two bookstores, and hopefully they will have them there. They did not have them there, however they did have 6 other books which I got. So the third bookstore I went to visit is called Mega Books, and this one is on Laurinska Street, and this is one of my all-time favorite bookstores we have in Bratislava, because it's focused on English books mostly. So originally this was, and I still think it's meant to be a bookstore where you can get mostly books when you're studying a language, particularly English. You also have there, you know, for German or I think Spanish as well, in different languages, but you have mostly like workbooks and study books and different conversational type of books. However, they also have like a proper huge bookstore with English books. I think it's like 95% of the books they have there, and every time I want to get books, because I mostly read books in English now, probably like 99%, I always go to that bookstore. And also the loveliest people work in that bookstore. You can chat with them about books. I also asked them if they had The Last Witch of Scotland, and the lady asked me if it's a good book, and I said I actually don't know, which is true. I just know it's set in Scotland and it's about witches, so I'm like, I would like to give it a go. And she said, okay, I'm gonna order that book. And honestly, that was the moment when I had the biggest epiphany, and I'm like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to have a bookstore, and I just want to have the power to order books whenever and however I want. Somebody tells me that this is a great book, and I'm like, okay, I'll order it. So yes, that was a very important moment in my life, I think, but it was very, very lovely. And that's also where I got my 4 books, which I will show you in a minute, because I discovered there these absolutely wonderful editions of Wordsworth classics, and let me tell you, I did not know these type of books exist. But that's gonna be a death of me, and especially of my wallet, because all these books, they have the books, probably you know it, so yes, sorry, but for me it was new. So they do have all the classics, and the covers of those books, let me tell you, like honestly, the color palettes they are using for those, I originally was there with approximately 8 books in my hand, which I was sure I'm going to buy, also for the reason that these specific books, they cost like less than €4, and I was like, oh my goodness. So eventually I ended up buying 4 of them, but I also wanted to buy Anna Karenina, because the cover was absolutely stunning, and I also wanted to buy Three Musketeers, because as you know, I already own 3 different editions of Three Musketeers. I have them in Slovak and in English, and I was like, I don't have this one, and it's really beautiful and I really like it, and it's like $3.60, so I could buy it. But then I was like, okay, don't be greedy, because you already have 3 different editions, so I decided not to buy it. And same with Anna Karenina, because I have Anna Karenina in Slovak already, so I decided I will leave it there for now, because I'm sure I will come back. And that's the same I want to do with Dracula, because I do own Dracula in Slovak, but they also have very lovely edition in English for like $3.60 again. So I'll definitely come back. However, I got 4 other books, which I'll show you in a minute. But yes, if you are in city center, and definitely, obviously, if you are a tourist who is searching for English books, I would highly recommend you to go to this store. Also, in the previous 2 I mentioned, they obviously have a huge English section, so you can get like classics and current authors as well. But this one is a little bit special for me. And then, my friends, the last one which I went to visit, and when I got 2 other books, and it's definitely one of my most favorite bookstores like ever, not only in Bratislava, and it's called Teacup Books. And this is more on the side of independent bookstores. It's not a huge franchise or anything, at least I don't know about it. Hope I'm not wrong about this. But this is a bookstore, let me tell you, my friends, where every single bookworm wants to live, wants to work, wants to own it, because it has this absolutely wonderful, stunning wooden staircase, and there is a lot of letters everywhere for the tall bookshelves, and they have book stacks just everywhere, and you have comfortable chairs when you can sit, and it just literally looks like some magician lives there, and it has dim lights, and it's a little bit like darker but still very cozy, and it has 2 grounds, and it literally feels like you can just go there and hide there somewhere in wherever you are, just a very cozy book nook or something like this. They also have a whole room and section with children's books where children and parents can also sit and play. It's absolutely wonderful. It does not really have any like coffee space or anything like that either, but you can still go sit there and just read for a while. And what is absolutely amazing is that every time I went to that bookstore, there was some lovely lady who works there, and they all love to chat about books, and they can give you really good recommendation. Like, you know, it's one of those places when I feel like even when you go to bigger commercial bookstores, I think that in these days people are a little bit careful when they're employing people, that they should be, you know, like bookworms and should be able to speak about books. But in this particular shop, it's like that woman just loves to speak about books, and I was there and I spent there over an hour, and we were just chatting about different books, and I also asked about recommendations about the current Slovak authors as well, which I will buy eventually, but my wallet was bleeding so much after the day that I was like, okay, you know what, because that was after I purchased another 2 books in that bookstore when I asked about Slovak book recommendations, and then she gave me 4, and I was like, you know what, I'll come back next time because I cannot purchase any more books. But it was absolutely lovely experience. Now I would like to show you the books which I purchased, and I will start with the absolutely wonderful, stunning collection of the mentioned Wordsworth classics. It's these books, and okay, let me tell you. I will firstly start with this classic which I got, and it's Romeo and Juliet. Look at that cover. I love it so much. So the reason why I purchased this one is because I just love this story, no matter how weird it might be at certain parts, especially regarding Julia's age, but I just love this. And if you're looking for a good adaptation for film, I highly recommend the one from 60s by Franco Zeffirelli with Olivia Hussey, who unfortunately passed away recently, but that's absolutely stunning. And I know those verses, most of the verses from there by heart, because I just watched that movie so many times, and it's really great one because they use the actual verses from Shakespeare. It's not adapted to like a current languages, but it uses actually verses from the Shakespeare. I mean, look at that cover. So this is the first book I got there. Then another one is, it's a poetry collection actually by Emily Dickinson, because I haven't been reading a lot of poetry recently, and I really wanted to get back into it because to be honest, I haven't read that much of poetry throughout my life yet, but it's something I would very much like to change. And they had these books, and I already heard about Emily Dickinson, so, and this was, I already scratched it out, but I think it was like less than €4, and honestly, my friends, if I was a book cover, it's gonna be this one. Look at this, like this soft pink, that's my ultimate favorite color, so I'm just so happy with this one. Yeah, pink, I think you can guess. And then the other book is The Woman in Love, which again, the cover. Honestly, I do not know this author, and the reason why I picked this up was because of the cover. But then I read the blurb on the other side, and I really like this. This should be about a love story between 2 different couples. I don't know if it's like really like soap opera type of thing, if it's between each other or just like one couple and another couple. But anyway, somehow it just wasn't approved in those days society, but it should have a very good commentary. Also asking what grounds could we place ourselves about and beyond the animal world, what are the definitive forms of our relationship, love, marriage, family, friendship really worth, and how might they be otherwise. And it should be the commentary of what it actually mean to be a human, having relationship, and especially commentary on those days society. It was around or after First World War. So I'm quite excited to read this. It's quite chunky one, to be honest. It's about around 400 pages and the writing is very small, so it's gonna be fun, but I'm quite excited to read this one. If you read it, let me know. And then the last one I got from these classics is Orlando by Virginia Woolf, and the reason why I got this is because I never read anything by this author yet, and I just thought I would start with this one because I know very briefly what this book is about, and I know that it's one of the books which is most talk about when it comes to her books, so I decided I would like to give it a go. Also the cover again, oh my goodness. Yeah, I have a problem because definitely I'm coming back, and see, you can imagine that all these type of wonderful covers they had for Anna Karenina and Three Musketeers and Dracula and all my favorite books, and they also had like Dickens books, which I do not actually read as much, but the covers were very lovely. So not to judge the book by the cover, but I absolutely did. And I'm happy I did this time because I really enjoy and I very much look forward to read these books. And then two other books which I purchased, and this I purchased in Atka bookstore, so in my favorite one where the magician lives. So the first one is The Whispering Muse by Laura Purcell, and fun fact, I actually have a book by this author which is called The Corset, and I have it as an ebook, and I wanted to read for so long. I believe I have it in my phone for like a year, and I somehow did not get around to read it, but I know it should be a good one. And it did not occur to me that this is actually the same author when I purchased the book. It was only after I got home and then I noticed The Corset here on the scale of small books. But this one sounds really good. It should be set in like 1700s in London, and it gives me a little bit of like dark academia, Shakespearean, a little bit like If We Were Villains vibe of book, because this should be set, I believe, from the point of view of a maid who works for this one actress who claims to be successful because of some ghost granted it to her or helped her with it. I don't know, I just saw this there, and funnily enough this book I accidentally sort of like knocked it down because it was on one of the book stacks they had there and it was very crowded and it just fell down. I was like, okay, let me look at this, and then I decided to buy it, so it was great. And then the last books, my friend, I got is this one. Look at this, also the cover. I only seen this movie for the first time, I believe it was last year in summer, and I'm quite a stranger to Ghibli movies. I haven't seen that many of them, but I would like to see more. And I didn't even know actually that this was according to the book. I thought that there was a movie and that's it. And to be honest with you, when I saw the movie for the first time, I liked it, but I was watching it with one of my friends who is also a huge film enthusiast, and we actually studied film together. And she was talking to me about that movie, and I was like, actually, you know what, the way she spoke about it, I liked it even better than I felt it was done in the movie. Actually, I like the storyline and the plot of the movie more when she told me about it rather than how it was done. I still love the movie, but you know what I mean? Like, somehow I wish that maybe some things I felt like it didn't do it justice according to what she told me. And I was hoping that maybe when I read the book, I can find the answer for that there. And also, I didn't know when I got this, but this is the first out of 3 books. It should be sort of like mostly like standalones, maybe. I don't know. If you know, let me know. And I would eventually like to get other 2 as well. So yes, I'm very excited. I'm getting a little bit hyper about these books, and it was quite funny because then I sent a message to my boyfriend being like, I might have bought another few books. I didn't tell him how many until I got home, so he was quite surprised because we went book shopping last month, so he was laughing a lot, but oh well, that's what you get when you live with the bookworm, right? Okay, my friends, so these are the 6 books which I got and which makes me very, 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 very happy. and I cannot wait to read them and then tell you about them. So please, okay, I think I have 3 minutes left on my card. So my friends, if you read any of these books, please let me know. If you visited any of the bookstores I mentioned, let me know. If you would like to visit them or if you like them, let me know. And thank you for watching, and I will see you with another video very soon. Take care. Bye bye.